In the 12th episode of the A.S.A.P Tech News, we talk about Intel's very first modern desktop graphics card, the new Nvidia drivers, Biostar's new lineup of motherboards, and Team Group developing the next-gen DDR5 SO-DIMM memory. We start with Intel and their new series of Iris-Xe discrete desktop graphics cards. For this, Intel has partnered with ASUS and as of yet an unknown manufacturer. Unfortunately, these graphics cards will only be available to system integrators as part of pre-built systems, which is quite unfortunate to say the least. This launch comes right after Intel launching the Iris-Xe Max products for notebooks. Not much is known about these models or why Intel has decided to restrict them to OEM pre-built systems only, but all we can hope is that eventually Intel will make a launch onto the general consumer market for graphics cards, and thus we are going to have a third competitor into the market. Also, I'm not going to lie, when I heard about this news, I immediately hoped to see this come into existence, but not yet anyway. We continue with Nvidia and their latest drivers, now at version 461.40. The highlight of this driver is that it brings out optimization for the game The Medium, which includes support for RTX ray tracing, DLSS, and support for the mobile RTX 30 series Ampere graphics cards. There are also plenty of issues addressed with this driver, including game crashes for games using the RA2 game engine and running in DirectX 11 mode, the dreaded error 707 crash in DaVinci Resolve, random crashes within Detroit Become Human video game, freezing up with Mercury Playback Engine GPU acceleration in Adobe Premiere Pro, color distortion in Zoom meetings with NVE and C enabled, and of course lagging with game launches in Steam VR. However, this driver release also brings out more issues than it fixes, so it's more like one step forward and two steps back. I have already installed this driver and so far everything behaves as it should, but I do not notice any performance gains in either video rendering or gaming, especially in Cyberpunk 2077. And now we have Biostar and their new motherboards, which use the Intel Z590 and the B560 chipsets. First, there is the racing Z590 GTA, which at first glance is one of the best looking motherboards in this generation, with subtle light blue and grey accents and not that many RGB LEDs installed. This motherboard uses Biostar's proprietary 14-phase power design and 20k hours durable solid capacitors, among other things. In other news, there is also the racing B560 GTQ motherboard, which is only available in a micro ATS form factor, at least in this press release, and uses a 12-phase power design with 10k hours durable capacitors. Both motherboards have M.2 sockets for high-speed SSDs and dedicated heatsink for these SSDs and sockets. In addition, the heatsinks used appear to be doing some degree of cooling with some fins present, but we shall see about that. No pricing has been revealed as of yet, but if these motherboards are priced accordingly to the market, then Biostar might just become a solid alternative for every user, gaming and overclocking alike. And finally, Team Group is developing the next-gen DDR5 RAM memory. For starters, a single module of DDR5 memory has a capacity of 16GB and a frequency of 4800 MHz, and both versions work at a lower voltage of 1.1 volts. Please keep in mind that we are talking about SO-DIMM RAM memory. The lower operating voltage will help increase the overall battery life of any notebooks that uses this type of RAM modules, especially on ultra-thin notebooks, which are all the craze these days. The company says that the product specifications published are from successful developed products and not from just a paper release. Again, we shall see about that when everything is launched. There is no time frame for the release of these RAM modules or when the DDR5 memory will become mainstream. All we can hope is that this new RAM memory will not hit the market with a significant price increase, as the history has been letting us know with DDR2, DDR3 and DDR4. And this is the end of the episode number 12 of the A.S.A.P Tech News, one of the few tech news series which aims to deliver you the news as fast as possible for your convenience.